Raul Jimenez to Semedo. Jimenez going across to the right flank for Wolves to try and offer an extra body as they figure out the best way through all of the bodies in black and white. Sace, Newcastle remaining well disciplined in their formation at the moment. Neto out towards Podence. He's been the danger man for Wolves since the opening 15. Before that it was Semedo, but his cross here is headed out. He'll take the throw quickly. Dendoncker back to Kilman, back into their own half.
He's a real live wire, Podence, down this left hand side. Always looking to get half a yard, always committing defenders, very direct, good ability.
He's not one of their youngest recruits, Daniel Podence. He's 25. He only made 3 Premier League starts last season after a £17 million move from Olympiacos in January, but he's started 5 of the first 6 this season, got a couple of assists already, and here he goes again, attacking the edge of the penalty area. Podence pulls it back left-footed, really good ball as well, and Pedro Neto struck it first time as it skipped up in front of him, 17 yards out. He opened up his boot and guided the ball just over the top of the crossbar. It's as close as either team have come after 50 minutes here.
He puts his head in his hands. Callum Wilson crowded out just inside his own half. Ball out again. It's Podence. Very, very direct. Lovely little cutback. And Neto will feel again that he needs to do better. Maybe again a little bit too strong with the ball across Wolves. But he holds his head in his hands because he knows it's a big chance still.
He's another Portuguese player eased in to the first team setup last season. The 20-year-old, a £17 million signing from Lazio. Made 9 starts in the Premier League, but he started every game this season after Jota's move to Liverpool. Fraser's cross on this near side of the penalty area had to be turned behind by Max Kilman, so Newcastle down the other end of the field across to our right have a corner.
Yeah, good little run from Fraser, getting in behind Wolves, trying to whip it across that box, deflected, and chance for Newcastle, bring the big guns up, load one into the Wolves box.
Ryan Fraser on his first start for Newcastle. They take the corner short as he tries to play a 1-2 with Sam Maximin, who gets too much on the return pass and just plays it behind for a goal kick. And we've been saying it time and time again, moments like that summing up Newcastle's performance when they do go forward here. Well,
Newcastle's centre-backs that have just run 40 yards to put themselves in the box for a corner will not be pleased. Short one with Fraser and Sam Maximum. He tries to roll Fraser back in, which is far too heavy with a return pass, and goes off for a goal kick. But put the ball in the box, make Wolves defend.
Especially playing the 3 centre-backs today as well. All of them went forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're 7 minutes into the second half at Molineux on Premier League Live. Wolves 0, Newcastle 0. Still just the 1 attempt on target for both teams. Podence, nice back heel this time to Sace, who was on the overlap down the line on this near side. Fraser got back to close him down though. Back in field to Ruben Neves. Touch first time by Dendoncker to Raul Jimenez across to the far side. This is much better from Wolves. Left-footed shot from distance over the top of the crossbar. They couldn't resist the shot from 30 yards, and there was the option to keep the attack flowing, wasn't there, with the overlap on that side. They had an extra man over there. Instead it was the long ranger that was a good 5 yards from the top corner by Pedro Neto.
Yeah, again another Wolves attack which just follows the pattern of the game, really, doesn't it? Great little stuff around the edge of the box. 1 touch, 2 touch. Then Donker popped into Jimenez, out to Neto. Like you say, Tim, had an overlap on the right hand side, chooses to come inside on his left foot, and high, wide and handsome.
I suppose in the opening 8 minutes of the second half there is a bit of encouragement for Nuno Espirito Santo as he watches on from the edge of his technical area. They've had 3 shots in that time, Wolves.
Yeah, he's probably told them you need to shoot more. You know, if you get half a yard you need to pull the trigger. You can't walk the ball into the goal. You've had Neto. Jimenez has had a strike, hasn't he? Neto too, actually. The side foot should have done a lot better with in that recent one.
Only 4 shots in the first 45 minutes, 3 in the 8 minutes here since half time. They're looking to create something else here. Dendoncker on the far side takes it down on the joint of his shoulder and his chest, gives it to Semedo. Here's Ruben Neves, tracked by Sam Maximum, working hard defensively, but Ruben Neves still able to bully the ball down the flank towards the corner flag, where he's shoulder to shoulder with Jamal Lewis, who wins the throw for Newcastle.
Struggling to get out at the moment, Newcastle. Very much following what happened in the first half, or most certainly the first 15-16 minutes of the first half, where they struggled. It was all Wolves, and it is again at the moment.
A stray pass from Ruben Neves on the volley allows Newcastle to intercept. It's a poor clearance though, straight to Roman Saiss, just inside the Newcastle half. Now Pedro Neto on the left flank. Back to Saiss again, who tries to slot it through to a runner ahead of him. Deflected back off a Newcastle head to Ruben Neves. Almost intercepted by Sam Maximum, which might have turned into a Newcastle counter-attack, but he couldn't quite reel the ball in. Saiss across to this near side again to Neto, right on the near touchline, getting chalk on his boots. Wolves trying to stretch the pitch a bit, to stretch that Newcastle defensive formation, but to no avail really so far. 10 minutes into the second half, still goalless.
Yeah, they're back in the shape again, all Newcastle players in their own half. You can see, looking down, 5-3-2. Real deep defensive block they've got on here.
Can Wolves figure out the answer to this conundrum that Newcastle are posing them? Pedro Neto into Podence, who turns sharply. Lovely low centre of gravity as he spins away. Neto back towards Podence in the penalty area. This is lovely from Wolves. Podence dancing past the defence, trying to strike it towards goal, just waiting for an angle to materialise to have his shot, and when it did, he struck it hard and true, and they're appealing it was blocked by a Newcastle hand.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a handball for that. He's hit it with real venom, hasn't he? Again, cutting in from the left, dances across onto his right hand, onto his right foot. Yeah, do you know what? In the restart, you might have got that, but it's hitting him on the back of the arm, almost the elbow, the Newcastle player. You're not going to get a penalty now for that. But you feel that if anything, Wolves are going to get anything anytime soon, it will come from that man, Podence. It's been excellent this afternoon.
Now, a penalty appeal will have been checked, won't it, by the assistant?
Yeah, it would have, yeah.
On the video, and it's a very quick check and not given, and rightly so. And that was such a contentious point, wasn't it, as you referred to after the restart? Penalties were being given for that.
Well, that would have been a penalty, Tim, wouldn't it?
And they've changed the interpretation of the law, rightly so, haven't they?
Oh, yeah. That would have been a penalty.
It was an absolute farce before.
Yeah.
There was all this nonsense about making the silhouette of the body bigger, and it's back now with the more simplistic approach of, was the arm in an unnatural position? And the answer there was clearly not, as Federico Fernandez threw himself in front of the shot. No chance of getting his arm out the way.
No, he slid across to block the shot. And in the act of sliding, you've got to put your arms somewhere. Your arms go down by your side. That's a natural reaction. So he had no control of that ball hitting his arm there.
Pedro Neto has the ball on halfway, looking to glide forward through the centre circle. Raul Jimenez has dropped deep to receive it, back onto his right foot. This is much better from Wolves again, across to the far side to Semedo, far corner of the penalty area, gets his cross in, deflected off Jamal Lewis, who's defended well today, and out of play for a throw by the corner flag.
I know they've not really had a real good chance at the moment, Wolves, but you do think that they're beginning to open up Newcastle just that little bit more than they were.
And if it continues in this pattern, it'll be a long final 35 minutes or so for Newcastle. Wolves have already had as many shots in this second half as they had in the whole of the first. And here's Podence again, far side of the penalty area, closed down by Lewis. They've got three waiting in the centre. Semedo trying to get to the byline, but he takes a heavy touch when there wasn't much room to operate, and nudges the ball behind for a Newcastle goal kick, and they can breathe a sigh of relief and regroup and refocus again.
They need to get hold of the ball again, don't they, Newcastle? They're trying to play out this time.
It's about that time where you'd expect a change, possibly from Wolves, but I think given the recent encouragement, Nuno Espirito Santo might just leave it a few more minutes.
Yeah, he probably will. You're probably looking at 65 minutes before he makes a change.
Here's Dendoncker turning in the centre circle, playing it forward left-footed. Podence is just in the inside right channel now. It's a diagonal towards the chest of Jimenez. He was trying to get in behind. Good defending, though, to step out from the back from the Newcastle captain, Lascelles, and intercept. Jacob Murphy has been playing almost as a right wing-back today for Newcastle. His first start of this Premier League campaign. He moves it back, and Newcastle try and cling on to it with their back three inside their own penalty area with Lascelles. Wolves happy to retreat and back away. Ryan Fraser infield to Jeff Hendrick. Newcastle added a couple of free signings in the summer. Jeff Hendrick from Burnley and Ryan Fraser from Bournemouth. Both of them getting the start here today, as well as spending considerable money, of course, on Callum Wilson, also from Bournemouth. Here's Sam Maximon across to Lewis, who they spent money on from Norwich. So 4 new signings in the 11. Here's Shea. Now on the near side is Murphy, who returned to the club after a loan spell. He skipped towards the corner of the penalty area here, trapped by 2 Wolves players. He'll squeeze the cross in. It might come for Callum Wilson. He's looking to turn. Almiron left footed, deflected in front of goal. Kilman towards his own net, and somehow reeled in by Rui Patricio as the ball looked to be flying towards the top corner of the empty Wolves net.
Well, good chance, brilliant from Murphy down this right hand side, somehow squeezes that ball back. Wilson into Almiron. Bolly throws himself at the ball. A couple of more ricochets and then it bounces up into the grateful arms of Patricio. But that was at the end of probably Newcastle's best passage of play in the game, to be honest.
Here they come again. Callum Wilson running the channel. They win a throw by the corner flag. Max Kilman's touch in the end was a pretty good one, wasn't it? Just to help it up into the 6-yard box for Patricio to grab from the camera angle. And the angle that we were seated looking at it, it looked like it might be flying towards the top corner.
Yeah, it did. It was good play from Murphy. I thought he'd missed his chance to get the cross in, but somehow managed to squeeze it in.
It's a Wolves throw now by their own corner flag, as Newcastle failed to make the most of their throw-in. We've played just over the hour here on Premier League Live. Wolves 0, Newcastle 0. Newcastle only just mustering their first attempt of the second half after only 2 in the first half. Wolves have it at the back again with Nelson Semedo.
Looks like Adama Traore getting ready to come on. Just wondering who it will be, whose place he takes.
It seems like the inevitable change, doesn't it, for Wolves?
Yeah.
He can offer something very different.
I'd be very surprised if it was Podence, which it was in the last game. I think he's been excellent. Could be Neto, this time.
Here's Connor Cody in the centre circle to Raul Jimenez, who's almost in a holding midfield position as he tries to link things, the number 9. Then Donker touches it to Semedo far side. Now Jimenez has to try and get into the penalty area. There's 4 of them waiting there for Wolves now, but the cross doesn't come from Semedo. He's still trying to figure out the best way past Almiron, who's defended well. It ricochets to Podence, though, in the penalty area. Newcastle have to be careful not to clip him. And in the end, they're invited to clear and do all the way back to Connor Cody.
You have to be careful there with Podence. Real low centre of gravity. You don't want to touch him in the box because he'll be over.
Cody again. It may well be that the next time the ball goes out of play, we'll see Adama Traore. Here's Dendoncker, far side, dribbling towards the sideline, turning to face the corner of the penalty area. Podence again, the real danger man at the moment, gets it back onto his right foot. Faced with a wall of black and white jerseys, though, and this time he gives it away and holds up his right hand apologetically as he presents it straight to Murphy. He's trying to dribble across the edge of his own D and does so admirably to slalom past a couple of those gold Wolves jerseys and give it across to Jamal Lewis, who's continuing this dribbling clear out of pressure from Newcastle up towards halfway, but he's not adventurous with it and goes back to the central midfielder Jeff Hendrick. Now there's a bit of space for Ryan Fraser, who's very good with the ball at his feet as well, but he turns back and plays in that conservative manner that Newcastle so often do. Almiron in central midfield across to the far side. And Wolves with just about everybody back behind the ball. Now a chance to drive forward over on the far side for Lewis. Forward from left wing back up against Semedo. Semedo does well one-on-one. Wins the challenge, gives it to Bolly. Lewis is out of position, but they come down the other side. Wolves across towards this near side, the left flank for them. And then the switch towards that far side where there might be a bit of space for Raul Jimenez in behind the vacant Jamal Lewis, but the pass was overhit and out into touch for a throw, and we are going to see Adama Traore imminently. Just receiving his final instructions now from Nuno Espirito Santo. It's going to be a double change as well for Wolves. Marchal, the Brazilian left back, to come on.
Be interesting to see who's going to make way for these two guys. Am I going to do it now? No. Still playing on. Could be a change of shape. Might be one of the centre halves to go off. Not sure you need three centre halves.
25 minutes to play. They've got to do something, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. The amount Wolves are dominating the ball. Do you need three back there? Probably not. Do you need two holding midfielders? Probably not either. So it'll be interesting to see what changes he makes.
Here's Max Kilman on halfway. Dendoncker out to Sace. Wolves might just be spurred by the sight of a couple of potential substitutes on the edge of the pitch. Pedro Neto, one of those whose position might be at risk, with a couple of step overs, and then he takes a whack to the shin and wins Wolves a free kick. It's just off the near edge of the penalty area, an opportunity to get the ball into the Newcastle box.
Good skill, double step over, little Cruyff turn. Too clever for Jacob Murphy, that's for sure.
Just about 66 minutes on the clock. It's Pedro Neto who stands hands on hips here, looking to deliver this cross left-footed, and it goes towards the penalty spot. Willy Bolly was towering high, but it was over his head still, and steered away by Newcastle. Ruben Neves trying to drive it in through a crowd of players, might just have been going wide anyway, as Carl Darlow pounces down to his right to claim.
Comfortable save. I think Neves shot there because he thought he was going to be going in for a tackle, so he's flung everything at it with his right foot. Slight deflection, but easy for Darlow.
We've still not seen the changes yet for Wolves. They weren't quite ready when the ball last went out of play, nor for when it got stopped for the free kick. And they have the ball back in their right back position with Semedo. Now Bolly. No sign of any high press from Newcastle again. They just allow Wolves to move it out towards this left flank. Roman Sace. Ruben Neves. Sace again. Looking to play it into the channel for Pedro Neto, who barges into the back of his opponent Murphy and concedes the free kick. I think we're going to see those changes now, pretty much dead on the midway point of the second half. And we'll see who it is who's going to make way. There's a double change for Wolves. Adama Traore coming on. Marchal, the Brazilian left back, as well. Roman Sace, it looks like it'll be a straight swap in the left wing back position.
Yeah, Podence has gone off again.
It's a surprise, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is to me, yeah. I mean, he's been really, really bright. Perhaps it's just a little change of formation, a little bit more direct running power as opposed to the trickery of Podence. But he's been arguably Wolves' best player.
Here's Adama Traore, flicks it outside of the right boot towards Dendoncker, but he couldn't flick it further on towards Jimenez. Saint-Maximin. Newcastle will be absolutely delighted really with this position. They've kind of weathered the storm, haven't they, after Wolves improved at the start of this half?
Yeah, I mean, very much the same as the first half.
Wolves starting both halves well. Newcastle surviving and now looking to mount a rare attack of their own. Callum Wilson racing in behind, near side of the penalty area. Pulls it back to Saint-Maximin, just off the edge of the box. Wolves plenty of bodies back now. Hendrick strikes it deflected. It'll go for a corner if Rui Patricio can't catch up with it, but he can. Racing off his goal line towards the corner of his penalty area on this near side.
Yeah, it just shows you Newcastle's ambition there though, doesn't it? Because ball goes into Callum Wilson. Wolves end up with 8 gold shirts back behind the ball. Newcastle, 3 bodies in the box.
Ball back with the Newcastle keeper Carl Darlow. He's been nowhere near as busy as he was against Manchester United last week. Ryan Fraser getting his body between Marchal, the Wolves substituting the ball, and earning the free kick from him. Down in the Newcastle right-back position. 7 of the previous 10 Premier League meetings between these two have ended in a draw. 6 of those have finished 1-1, including each of the last 3 and both of the last 2 here at Molineux. Late action as well. Willy Boly scored a 95th minute equaliser here a couple of seasons ago. There's still 20 minutes of this one to play plus added time. Wolves 0, Newcastle 0 here on Premier League Live. Wolves are hoping for a first top-flight home win over Newcastle since 1977, when they won 1-0 here.
Well, it only takes one chance, doesn't it?
Yeah, they'd certainly take that scoreline again today. Newcastle have the ball at the back at the moment. Ryan Fraser towards Sam Maximon. Kilman, proactive defending to win it back. Neto. Ruben Neves, a bit of space to drive forward into here for the number 8. Across to the far side where there's a bit of space as well for the arriving Semedo to combine with Traore. Traore double teamed by Almiron and Lewis. Dribbling towards the corner flag. And those two do a good job on him in the end. Don't allow him any room to operate and win the throw as well.
Yeah, Semedo can take a little bit more of a back seat now. He was very much Wolves' outlet, wasn't he, down that right hand side, but now Traore's on.
Given away by Newcastle off that throw though. Pedro Neto on his left foot having a go, deflected off the back of a Newcastle player before it reached even the penalty area. And a little bit of an extra spring in the step of Wolves now though, as they look to shift the ball around. Boly's come forward halfway inside the Newcastle half. Newcastle have just about everybody back in their own third of the pitch. Here's Adama Traore up against that double team again. There's the step overs. Can he get the better of that battle this time? He does, to the effect of winning a corner over on the far side for Wolves.
But well done Almiron, because they'll know Traore very, very direct. All he wants to do is get to that byline and deliver. Doesn't really possess a lot of tricks. But he's done well. That's twice they've doubled up now. Not allowed him to get a cross in.
So Wolves have the corner 71.5 minutes in from the far side. They've packed the 6-yard box as it comes in towards the near post, punched away rather unconvincingly by Darlow, but fortunately for him it fell to one of his teammates to flick it further clear towards halfway.
He didn't get in much on it, but he got enough.
Ruben Neves out towards the near side. Are we going to have some late drama at Molineux in a game that's really offered very little? Certainly in the scope of this Premier League season, where we've seen so much action, so much drama, so many goals. The excitement has just dried up a little bit this weekend, hasn't it, Kev? Perhaps the European games are a reason for that, as the congestion starts to build up, but certainly not the case for Wolves, who aren't in Europe this year, and we're hoping to make the most of that by having the extra preparation time.
Yeah, they're just lacking in that final third. Well, they have been today. They don't normally. And up until this point, they've rarely worked Cole Darlow.
Wolves are out of the League Cup already as well, so only the Premier League to focus on until the FA Cup in January. Raul Jimenez takes it down here on the edge of the box, across to Adama Traore. This time he's one-on-one. Here goes Traore, trying to get away from Lewis towards the byline, gets his cross in. Jimenez was waiting for it, but it was turned away before it reached the number 9.
Yeah, there you go. The quicker they work it, the quicker Almiron won't have time to get back in there and double up on Traore. That time he was 1v1, wasn't he, with Jamal Lewis. No tricks. There you go. Direct, outside. Gets across. Does well. No Wolves player in there.
Just 1 goal and 1 assist 2 seasons ago for Traore. He added that end product last season. Had a direct hand in 13 goals in the Premier League in the end. Scored 4 and set up 9. A real transformation. The raw talent was always there. He's still only 24. Linked with a number of big clubs after those performances last season as well, Kev.
Yeah. And he's added final product to his game. All too often he'd get there, very rarely get a cross in. When he did, he'd hit the first man, he'd go behind the goal, he'd go too deep. But now he's adding that final product to his game.
Great to have your interaction on Twitter at TalkSport Live. We've heard from Don Lacuna, who says he's enjoying the commentary from Nigeria and would like the game to end in a draw. There's a high chance of that at the moment, although it's Wolves looking to force the issue a little bit more. But as Adama Traore tries to get down that right flank again, this time it's deflected back off him and behind for a Newcastle goal kick. And on the edge of his technical area, Nuno Espirito Santo with a bit of chin scratching to try and figure out what he can do next.
Well, we're going into a little spell of the game now where there's really not an awful lot happening. There needs to be a little bit of magic produced from somewhere to get us a winning goal, if indeed there is to be a winning goal.
Cher guides it back to Darlow on the edge of his 6-yard box, left-footed away by the Newcastle keeper. Bolly intercepts on halfway with his chest in front of Callum Wilson, who's been feeding off scraps for these 75 minutes as it remains 0-0 at Molineux here on Premier League Live. Later on, Arsenal against Leicester, which you have to imagine will be a little bit more exciting than this one.
Can't be enjoyable for Callum Wilson, you know. As you say, feeding off scraps, starved of the football. I'd like to know how many touches of the ball he's had, but I doubt it's in double figures.
Kilman stepping forward out to the back for Wolves onto Neto. Neto turns into trouble though, still able to emerge with the ball as he's stronger than Ryan Fraser. Across to Adama Traore, up against the same double team again as Almiron helps out Lewis. Adama Traore around one, gets the cross in towards Dendoncker, might still come from Martial at the back post, pulled back, Neto strikes it, deflected away, and Newcastle able in the end to clear their lines and to scramble the ball clear. But a bit of panic and desperation for the first time in a long time in the Newcastle defence.
Yep, first time in a long time, as you say. Traore this time gets to the byline, and that's where I'm talking about. His final product stands a lovely little ball up to the back post. It's a good cut back as well from Martial, but a shot blocked again.
Here he is again, the Brazilian left back getting the cross in, turned away by Hendrick, only as far as Neto on the corner of the penalty area. He squares it, Raul Jimenez back onto his left, trying to flick it with the outside of his right, with 3 Newcastle players in front of him. Then it ricocheted to him and he swung and swiveled on the edge of the D and got his shot away more convincingly this time with his right boot towards the bottom corner, but Darlow was equal to it again.
Yeah, the first one, a little bit of a toe punt, comes back to him, shot on the turn. Again, a save that you'd expect Darlow to make.
Before that, there was a very weak claim for a penalty again, no chance of a handball, as Newcastle got Lascelles in front of a shot. They've committed a couple of players forward here, Newcastle, and lost the ball, so there's a bit of space for Wolves to move it into, but they're doing so at almost a walking pace here as it goes to Adama Traore. Step overs up against Hendrick. Now there's space for Martial in the D. He cut in field from